Okay, Tony, can you please turn to page 13? All right. So before we skip the bottom part, okay? This part talks about in what scenario the question or the answer will be undefined. Okay, so before everything you can, because today we're going to evaluate. Evaluate means find the final answer. So there's no more variables, right? In the last homework, you have a mix of variable and numbers. So when you just have numbers, sometimes you can get the answer, sometimes you get undefined. Okay, so here we're gonna talk about when you will get undefined. So we have 4 examples at the bottom. So let's look at one by one, okay? So for the first one, that one of course is a square root of 25. So Isabella, what's the answer for square root of 25?
5 1/2.
Yeah, same as 5 to the 1/2. And if I want to find the answer for it, yeah, still you.
You multiply it, I think.
When you see square root of 25 is the same as asking what number square can give you 25. So what number will work?
5.
Yeah, okay. So it'll equal to 5. Sorry, here I should write 25. Okay, so 25 to the half, same as square root of 25, answer should be 5. Okay, so this one, you have an answer. Okay, so the question is, when will the answer be undefined? Undefined means there's no answer to it. Okay, let's look at second one. So for the second one is asking what number, okay, what number when you square can give you negative 25, right? For the second one. Let me bring that over. Okay. So what do you think? What number times itself can give you negative 25? Angeline?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
For the second question, right? You have a square root of negative 25, right?
Yeah.
What do you think the answer is that? Is there a number when you square to give you negative 25?
-5.
Okay, if I put negative 5 into the bracket, right? Negative 5 times itself again, what does that equal?
-25.
Negative 5 times itself, so times negative 5 again. What happens when you take negative times negative?
Oh, positive.
Yeah, it will give you positive 25, right? So what number times itself will work?
One.
1. 1 times 1 will be negative 25.
No.
So what do you think? Is there such number exist?
No.
Probably very hard, right? No matter what you do, right? If you try negative, it will become positive, right? If you use positive number, it will still be positive, right? So this is the case when it's impossible, okay? No way. Okay, there's no way that it works. So for this question, if you have a negative on the inside, let me see. Yeah, so for the second one, you can just say it's undefined, okay? Undefined. Okay, so undefined is an answer, okay? Do not leave it blank, okay? Leave it blank, it means you don't know what to do, right? So you have to write undefined. That's one way to write it. Okay. Okay, so Wilson said, well, negative times -5 squared. Okay, so negative times -5 squared. Yes, this one will equal to -25. Okay, but then, okay, when we square root something, because you have to look at the question, right? Let me write it on the side. Okay. When you are square rooting, okay, when you put a square root on whatever that's inside, okay, what you are trying to do, okay, equal to the question mark, okay, what you're trying to do is what number, so the question mark square can give you the thing inside. Okay, maybe that's too confusing. Okay, let me try to explain differently. Okay, for example, 016. We know it's 4, right? So that means 4 squared will be 16. Okay, if you have square root of 9, which is 3. In other words, 3 squared is 9. Right? So if you have square root of -25 equals something, that means you're asking what number square can be -25. So the thing, this number you're looking for has to be in the square. Okay, has to be in the square. So if anything that goes into the square, when you square, it's impossible to become negative. Okay, so for your answer, that means you have an extra negative on the outside. Okay, for example, if it's like, you know, negative. Okay, let me write it this way. Okay, let me erase that. Right, your answer is -5 squared, right? However, right, for your answer, the square is not on everything, right? It's only on the -5. It's not including the negative on the outside, okay? So that's why it doesn't match the, it's not the same as the square root of -25. Okay. So second one is undefined, all right? Let's look at next part. So for the third one, okay, so for the third one, if we write it again, it will be the same as asking what number cube, right? Because this one is cube root. What number times itself 3 times to give you 8? Okay, so is there such a number that works, Henry? Do you think there's a number that could work, Henry?
2.
2, okay, 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8, right? So 2 can work. Okay, so answer will be 2. Okay, so this one is not undefined. Okay, you have an answer. Let's look at next one. Okay, you have another negative now. So this one is saying if you have a number, you're looking for a number. When you take the cube, it should give you -8. Is there such number that exists? Geoffrey, what do you think? Is there a number that works?
-2.
-2 times -2 is
4.
4 times -2 one more time.
-8.
Yeah, okay. So this time the negative on the inside, it's okay, right? So this one, we have an answer equals to -2. So sometimes it works having a negative inside. Sometimes it doesn't work if you have negative, okay? So if you look for the cases, right? These 4 examples, only second one is undefined. So the rule here is if you have an even index, index is referring to the cube root, okay, the square root, right, the number on the outside. So for example, like even number is like 2, 4, 6, okay, so you can write it here, right? Even index means square root, right, fourth root, okay. You probably won't see the sixth root, okay? Most of the time you just see the square root, fourth root, okay? So those ones, if you get an even one and you have negative on the inside, so like -25, then it will be undefined, okay? But if it's odd, so for example, number 4, this one is odd, then it's okay to have negative, okay? So another example will be like -32 and then fifth root, right? This is also odd, right? This number. Okay, yes, okay, so Kat already answered, right? So for this example, it will be -2 as well, okay? -2 times itself 5 times, it still works. Okay, so remember, if it's odd number, it's okay to have negative. If it's even number, okay, it will be undefined. Because today we are going to evaluate. So you need to know sometimes you might get an answer that's undefined, okay? So even. Right, so please take your time, write the notes down. Okay, copy some examples as well. All right, so when you finish writing, please raise your hand and then we're gonna work on some questions. So you can just memorize the second one, right? The second example, then you remember the rules. Even index, negative inside. Okay, even index, negative inside. So with an even, with a negative, okay? Even, negative. Please raise your hand if you finish writing, okay? Negative. Even, negative, undefined, all right? Even, negative, undefined. Okay, Valerie, Isabella, do you need more time?
I finished.
Okay, so let's look at next page, right? Page 15. So if you look at the instructions, right, it says simplify, right? And then evaluate. This is the key word. Evaluate means your final answer has no exponent. Okay, you have to use it up, right? If there's a square, you have to find the answer. If there's a root, you have to find the answer. Okay, so final answer has no exponent. And without using calculator, okay, which in other words, you have to show steps, right? Show steps. Okay, show how you get there. So I will show you several examples how the steps should look like. Okay, what kind of steps I'm looking for. So for example, like first one, okay, I want to find the answer for that. I will first change it into radical form, right? This is called exponential form. Exponential form, right? I'll change that to radical form. So what is the radical form for question A? Bernice?
It would be cube root of 100.
Yeah. Okay, so we can call that square root.
I mean square root, sorry.
Okay, so square root of 100. So please do not stop there because it's possible, right? Possible to evaluate. So we need to continue. Square root 100 is what, Tony?
Is 10.
Yes. Okay, so if you're not sure, you just think about what number square can give you 100. Okay, so we're looking for that mystery number. So that's all. Okay, so you want to get to this point. You don't see any exponent anymore. Okay, so let's do, how many questions are here? Okay, let's do half of it first. Okay, and then see how well you're doing there, and then we can move on. Okay, so do up to question L by yourself, and then I'll assign names. Okay, to each question. You show the steps on the screen. Okay. So let's see, I think probably take 15 minutes. Okay, how many questions are there? Yeah, should be enough. Okay, about 1 minute per question. Okay, so once you finish up to question L, you can raise your hand. You just go as far as you can. If you get stuck, then just move on to the next one. Okay. So remember, your final answer has no exponent, okay? Also no radicals too. All these questions are set up so that you can evaluate. And then also pay attention. Sometimes you might get undefined. Sometimes you get answers. So please show at least 2 steps, okay? How you get there. Sometimes you might need 3, okay? But show at least 2.
Can I go to the washroom?
Yeah, okay, sure.
Can I go to the washroom?
Yeah, feel free. Looks like it's faster than I expected, right? Already have 4 people finished. Not too difficult, right? So out of these questions, there is one question that's undefined, okay? Okay, remember to raise your hand if you are done.
Mr. Jason, if you have the answer to the question you're assigned, can you just start writing it?
Not yet. We'll go
Oh,
over.
okay.
Yeah, we'll go over in a couple more minutes. Still people doing working on it. I don't think anyone can unmute. Can you unmute other people? Yeah, yeah. Only I can ask. Yeah, ask you to unmute. You have to agree, right? Yeah. Okay. Hmm? Cat, you wrote no there? Oh, no one can unmute.
Like you can ask their permission, but like they don't have to.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
you need their permission. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 more minutes. Okay, then we'll start writing your answers. Remember to write the steps as well. Okay. Okay, now you can look for your name on the screen. Okay, just write in the spot where you're assigned to. Aaron, I don't think you need a remote control.
Oh,
Right? You can
like
just,
apparently my Zoom doesn't have the annotation feature. It doesn't
Really?
have it.
Oh,
Like on view options.
okay,
Yes,
okay,
it's updated, but like they don't have it.
okay, okay. I'll approve it. Okay, but I don't know how.
Yeah,
Because
I'll just borrow it right away.
yeah,
I'll
okay,
just use it for like really quickly.
yeah. Because I don't know, I won't be able to. Yeah, you'll be controlling my mouse too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's okay.
I'll just write the answer
No
for
worries, no worries. Yeah, show the step. Okay, take your time. Okay. Yeah, looks good. Okay. Wilson, is that your final answer? Oh, still writing. Okay. Right. Oh, very colorful, huh? Very colorful. So what color should I pick to mark it? Okay, I'll be using red, right? Is everyone done? Looks like everyone's done, right? Okay, so let's go over question B now. So question B, you write it in radical form first. Very good. So square root of 9 to the cube. Okay, and then you find a cube of 9, right? 9 cube. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, this one is okay. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. But if I were you, okay, I will just add the notes. Okay, you can add it to yours too. All right. So for question B, instead of having the cube on the inside, I prefer to write the cube on the outside. I do square root and then cube. Because for me, it's difficult to do 9 times 9 times 9 in my head, right? So I would do the square root first. So that brings it down to 3, right? Square root of 9 is 3. And then you cube that, okay? Still give you the right answer, but it'll be easier without a calculator or doing on the side. Wow, Wilson, what you doing? That's a huge number. Did you get that from a calculator? Yeah, you cannot use calculator though. 32 to the 4. How did you get that number? F? Wilson?
I did negative 32 and then to the power of 4 and then take
With a
that number and
calculator?
then,
With a calculator?
yeah.
Yeah, you cannot use calculator. So that's what we need to think about. How do we do it without a calculator? So you will do the root first instead of bring it to the 4th first, because it makes the number huge, right? So like question B, I was just explaining that, right? Instead of 9 to the cube, we do square root of 9 first. Okay, so for question C, yeah, so for question C, it's all good, okay? Except you can show one more step before you write the root. You can write it as 0.04, right, to the half. And then turn it into square root, okay? And the square root of 0.04 is 0.2, okay? Very good. Question D has a negative exponent, right? So it brings it down and then turns it square root, okay? Yeah, it's correct. Yeah, so Tony did it, right? So it's 0.09 to the half, which is square root. And then when you square root the 0.09, you don't need a square anymore. Okay, so your answer is just 0.3, okay, Tony?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Because you're looking for what number times itself give you the 0.09. So that number is the 0.3.
Okay.
So, and then for Wilson, as I was saying, right, instead of bring it to the fourth first, we'll do the fifth root. And then you bracket the whole thing to the 4. Okay, you do the root first. So what's the fifth root of -32, Wilson?
1 second, let me see.
What number times itself 5 times can be -32?
-2.
Yeah, so this one is not undefined, right? This is an odd number, right? The fifth root is an odd number. So you see there's no big number, right? And then you raise it to the fourth exponent, give you 16. Okay, so in the process, you don't need to touch calculator at all. Okay, question G, you have a flipping. Okay, so there's a negative exponent, makes the fraction flip. And then looks like you apply the square root first, right? So makes it 2/3 to the cube 8/27, yeah, okay. Or what I could add in one more step, okay, to make it more clear is to put a square root on, right? 4/9, and then to the cube, right? Because you want to rewrite it as a radical form first, right? And then inside become 2/3, and then become 8/27. Okay. All right, Bernice answer. Let's take a look. Okay, so she wrote it as a fourth root. Yeah, very good. Bring it down to the 3/2, right? And to the fifth. Yeah, 2, 4, 3/32. That's correct. Okay, so Valerie's answer here, you have, okay, there's a negative. So this negative is a tricky part. You see the negative is in the brackets, right? And in the question. So make sure you need to include the negative with one of the number. So you either put it with the 1, 2, 5 or the -8. Okay, so let's say we put it with -8 and keep the bracket. So that when you square, the negative disappears. Okay, if you put it at the very front, it will always be there. Okay, it will never disappear. Then your answer will be negative. Okay, so you have to bring it in to one of the numbers. Okay, even though the answer is right, okay, but make sure your steps has to connect. Okay, if you see J and K, right? J and K, they look very similar. Make sure you put a star on both of them. Okay, so this one is Isabella, right? You have square root on the whole thing. So this is the time when you have an even number, right? Square root, so this is even. Inside, you have a negative. Okay, Isabella, what happens when you have even and a negative inside?
Oh, is it undefined?
Yeah, this one will be undefined, okay? When the
Okay.
negative is inside the square root, okay, or the fourth root, if it's even number, right, it will be undefined. Undefined, sometimes you can write, okay, undefined. Okay, sometimes you can write a 0 with a slash across, okay? That means that it's empty. Empty means no number, okay? Now question K, because there's no Naomi, right? This is for Naomi. There's no brackets. Okay, Naomi. Question K and J is different, right? There's no bracket for K. So what do you think we should do when we write it as radical? Can you turn on your mic?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So if there's no bracket, how do we write it in radical form? Will the negative 49 be inside the square root?
No.
What should go inside then?
I don't know.
If there's a bracket, then everything in the bracket should go in. Okay, because that part is the base, like in question J. If there's no bracket, the base for the 1/2 is only for the 49. It only affects, yeah, the 1/2 only affects the 49. Okay, so can you rewrite it on the side? Yeah, okay, so it affects which part is the base, okay, and then the answer becomes, yeah, so even though, right, answer is the same, okay, but if it was this one, the one on the left side, then this is undefined actually. Okay, if it was then it will be like question J, right? So for our question K, right hand side should be the correct one. Negative on the outside, okay? All right, last one, that one, negative is inside, right? You have an odd, right? This is odd. So odd is okay to have negative on the inside. So this one is not undefined. We have, okay, we can add one more step though, okay? The cube root of negative 0.008 is negative 0.2. And then you square that, will give you positive, okay? So what you want to learn is how to show the steps, okay? If you just write the final answer, I don't know if you just punch everything into the calculator or not, right? So I'll be checking your steps as well. Okay, do we have any questions? All right, we'll have a break first, okay? And then you guys come back at 2:40 and then we'll continue, okay?